Mortgages, how to commit to 30 years without getting cold feet. Join us for a laugh-filled solo podcast on mortgages and home loans. From pre-approvals to maintenance bills, we break down the humor and reality of home buying in a way you'll love. Introduction. Welcome to the show. I'm Sam, your friendly host here to unravel the hilarious mysteries of the mortgage world. Yes, mortgages, those magical 30-year commitments that make you feel like you've aged a decade with every document you sign. Today, we're diving into the laugh-out-loud absurdities, the hidden surprises, and the did that really happen moments of home buying and home loans. Buckle up for a lighthearted yet surprisingly informative journey, whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned homeowner wondering why property taxes always feel like a sneaky surprise. The budget blowout. When my friend got approved for her mortgage, she celebrated by buying herself a fancy coffee machine, because apparently, $4 lattes were killing her budget. She told herself, "I'll save so much money now." Fast forward a few months, and she's buying organic beans, upgrading filters, and considering a $200 milk frother. Meanwhile, she's spending more on coffee than she did at the cafe. So, the moral of the story? Just because you can brew coffee at home doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper, especially when you get hooked on the barista lifestyle. The home tour hiccups. I'll never forget my first home tour. The realtor showed me this spacious basement that had so much potential, I practically saw it turning into a home theater and game room in my head. So, naturally, I started poking around and inspecting every corner, getting deeper and deeper into this space. After about 5 minutes, the realtor politely interrupted me, pointing out that I was, in fact, standing in a closet. Yep, a coat closet. I was envisioning a full-fledged entertainment zone, and all I found was a space for shoes. So, if you're house hunting, remember, not every nook is the next big thing. You might just be looking at storage space in disguise. The DIY disaster. So, after closing on my house, I thought, why pay someone to fix a leaky pipe when I can just do it myself? I watched a couple of videos and felt confident enough to tackle it. Fast forward 3 hours, and I'm standing in a flooded bathroom, frantically Googling how to stop a pipe from spraying water everywhere. I eventually had to call a plumber who gave me the judgmental stare of a lifetime. So, what did I learn? Don't attempt DIY plumbing unless you've got a degree in it, otherwise, you'll end up paying for a professional and a new bathroom floor. The inspection incident. During my home inspection, the inspector casually mentioned that the house might make settling noises over time, which is totally normal for older homes. Great, no problem, I thought. Then, that first night in my new house, I heard a series of loud creaks and groans, like a horror movie soundtrack. I froze, convinced the house was haunted. After about an hour of frantically Googling, I finally discovered that it was just my fridge defrosting. So, lesson learned, sometimes the scariest thing about owning a house is the sound of your old appliances doing their job. The forever clause. When I was signing all the paperwork for my mortgage, I couldn't resist cracking a joke to the lender. "This feels like a marriage except no cake." Without missing a beat, he looked at me and said, "Don't worry, you'll get all the commitment, none of the fun, and plenty of bills to go around." Ah, yes, the sweet reality of homeownership. You're not just committing to a property for 30 years, you're committing to the endless cycle of payments, repairs, and never-ending home projects. It's like a relationship, but with more tools and fewer date nights. The weekend warrior syndrome. After moving into my new house, I got this sudden burst of energy. I thought, I'll tackle this place one project at a time. I spent the first few weekends painting, installing shelves, and regrouting the bathroom tiles. By weekend 3, I was exhausted, surrounded by half-finished projects, and wondering if home improvement was just a cleverly disguised way to say waste of time. The truth is, Homeownership is a lot of work, especially when you're too optimistic about how much you can get done on a Saturday morning. The everything is fine stage. I remember the first time something major broke in my house. It was a small plumbing issue, but I convinced myself, it's probably no big deal. A week later, the water pressure was practically non-existent, and the kitchen faucet sounded like a dying animal. The plumber finally came, shook his head, and said, "It's not that it's a big deal, it's that you let it go on too long." Sometimes, the trick to homeownership is admitting something's wrong before it becomes a full-blown disaster. The let's do it the expensive way moment. I thought I was being super clever when I decided to get a quick quote for some landscaping. The first company came in, took one look at my yard, and quoted me an astronomical price. Okay, I thought, I'll just call a few more places. The next company quoted 3 times the first price. I was getting really desperate until I finally decided to DIY it, buying all the tools I needed just to realize I would need a second mortgage to pay for it all. So, the takeaway here, sometimes it's cheaper to not go for the fancy garden gnomes and just call in a pro. The mystery of the Homeowners Association. You know you're officially an adult when you get your first letter from the Homeowners Association. It was like receiving a love letter but with rules. I opened it with excitement, only to realize I was not allowed to paint my front door jungle green and that my mailbox must be approved by the association before installation. Suddenly, my dream of artistic expression was crushed. So, lesson learned, it's not just about committing to a mortgage, it's about committing to follow a lot of very specific rules you never knew existed. The I can afford this phase. The first time I heard how much my mortgage payment was, I thought, that's not so bad, I can afford this. Fast forward a few months, and suddenly I'm calculating how many fewer takeout dinners I can have, wondering if I can survive on ramen noodles. I discovered that mortgage payments don't come with a bonus round of disposable income. If you've budgeted for your house but haven't yet budgeted for a social life, prepare to get very close with your couch. The all I need is Wi-Fi phase. When I first moved into my house, I was so excited about the idea of having my own space. I quickly realized, however, that my excitement didn't account for the fact that the Wi-Fi signal barely reached the kitchen. There I was, stuck with a spotty connection, holding my phone at weird angles like some sort of Wi-Fi diviner, all to stream one show. I learned quickly that you can commit to a mortgage, but you'll be cursing your internet provider for the next few years if you don't plan for good Wi-Fi coverage. The it'll be fine tax. When I got my first mortgage statement, I thought, I can handle this. I'm an adult. But then, one day, I checked my credit card bill and realized I had somehow spent $200 on a single grocery run. I don't know how it happened, maybe it was the fancy organic ketchup and those artisanal chips. But I quickly realized, owning a house means facing the harsh truth of budgeting. The it'll be fine mentality only works if you actually track your spending. Otherwise, that mortgage payment won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. The decorating my house delusion. I once thought buying a house meant I could finally turn every room into a Pinterest board. I was going to have those beautiful throw pillows, custom curtains, and elegant vases everywhere. Then reality hit. Decorating a house is like being in a never-ending project. I bought the pillows, but they don't quite match. The curtains arrived, but they don't fit. And as for the elegant vases, well, they were too delicate for the not-so-graceful life of someone who owns a house. It turns out, being a homeowner is more about functionality than Instagram-worthy decor. The lawn mowing disaster. There's this misconception that owning a house means you can just let your lawn grow wild and free. But when I first tackled mowing my lawn, I realized it was more like taming a jungle than a quick weekend chore. After an hour of pushing the mower, my arms felt like they had run a marathon, and the lawn looked more like a patchwork quilt than a well-manicured garden. Lesson learned, mowing isn't just a quick fix, it's an investment in upper body strength, patience, and, sometimes, a new lawnmower. The new year, new house resolution. You know how people say, new year, new me? Well, I thought, new house, new lifestyle. The first month of mortgage payments, I was ready to start cooking all my meals at home, having movie nights, and saving money. But then, I found myself ordering pizza 3 times a week because cooking every night felt like a full-time job. So, here's what I learned: owning a house doesn't instantly make you domestically inclined sometimes, it just means you're really good at picking the best delivery options. Mortgages: how to commit to 30 years without getting cold feet. Remember how nervous you felt before your first big commitment? Now imagine saying yes to a house you've seen twice and promising to pay for it for the next 30 years. Make sure your finances are as steady as your resolve before jumping in. Create a budget, stick to it, and remember, granite countertops can't pay your mortgage. If you can commit to a mortgage, you can commit to anything, even a lifetime of eating off-brand cereal. Why pre-approval feels like winning a game show. Meet Sarah, who got pre-approved for her dream home only to discover that her budget was better suited for a fixer-upper, emphasis on fixer. Pre-approval gives you a budget to work with, but it doesn't account for your cravings for Starbucks or your pet's gourmet food habits. When the bank says, "Congratulations," you'll feel like you've won a prize. Just don't ask what it's going to cost you. First-time home buying: why you'll suddenly care about granite countertops. Before buying a home, you didn't even notice countertops. Now you can't stop Googling quartz versus granite. Focus on the big picture, like location and layout, before getting swept away by shiny features. Fun fact: granite countertops don't actually come with a happily ever after. Why property taxes always feel like a sneaky surprise. John bought his dream home and was thrilled until the property tax bill arrived. Surprise. Use online calculators to estimate taxes before buying. Knowledge is power, and in this case, savings. Owning a home means paying property taxes, aka, the government's way of saying, nice house. We'll take a cut. Refinancing: why it sounds easier than it is. Refinancing feels like starting over, but with even more paperwork. How is that possible? Consult a professional to see if refinancing will actually save you money in the long run. Refinancing is like marriage counseling for your mortgage. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's just expensive. The excitement of owning a home until you see the maintenance bills. Lisa's dream home turned into a nightmare when the water heater exploded 2 months in. Always budget for unexpected maintenance costs because roofs don't repair themselves. Owning a home is like adopting a very expensive pet that never stops needing things. When banks ask for documents and you have no idea where they are. David spent 2 hours looking for his W-2 and ended up finding his 5th grade report card instead. Keep all your important documents in one place, preferably somewhere you'll remember. The phrase "we need more documents" is mortgage speak for "let's make you sweat a little." Thank you for joining me on this roller coaster ride through the world of mortgages and home loans. Whether you're gearing up for pre-approval or simply laughing at the absurdities of homeownership, remember, every challenge is a step closer to creating your dream home. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast for more hilarious and helpful takes on life's big commitments. Share your funniest mortgage moment in the comments. Who knows, it might make it into the next episode. Disclaimer: the content provided in this video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. While we aim to offer helpful advice, it's important to consult with a professional financial advisor, mortgage specialist, or real estate expert before making any decisions related to mortgages or homeownership. Every financial situation is unique, and the information presented here may not apply to your specific circumstances. The views and opinions expressed in this video do not constitute professional financial advice.